Hello, and welcome to another Framework AI training powered by HATS. Today, I'm excited to walk you through one of the most powerful features in the HATS platform, the workshop. In this training, you'll learn what the workshop is and where it is, understand the three types of automations you can build, and then we'll focus on creating and customizing your first AI agent. By the end of this session, you'll be able to build your own agents to start saving you and your team time. So, what is the HATS Workshop? The HATS Workshop is your central hub for building, managing, and discovering AI automations. Think of it as your AI toolbox and build space all in one. You'll find the workshop on the main navigation page. In the middle, you'll click the workshop link, and it will bring you directly to the Discover community. There are a few sections inside the workshop. We have the new workshop item option, Discover Community, My Items, Shared Items, Scheduled Workflows, and Connections. The Discover Community is a set of apps, agents, or workflows created by other users of the HATS platform, published for you to use for free. My Items is your personal workspace. Everything you create starts there as private, visible only to you, and you can share those or publish those with other users in your organizations or the Discover community. Shared items shows resources that are shared across your organization. This is where items that you work on collaboratively will be located and where your groups will be located. Scheduled workflows and connections, I will get a little bit more into on another training, but it's where you can see where workflows that are scheduled to start at a certain time kick off and where other websites or apps that the platform is integrated with are connected. But for the purposes of this demo, we're going to go through the building a app, agent, or a workflow and finding items in the workshop. So what are the main differences between an app, a workflow, or an agent? Well, you can think of an app as a single step prompt that you want to run over and over again. Something that you could normally use the chat window for, except you've been doing the same task kind of on a recurring basis, so you want to turn it into an app instead of having to start from scratch each time. You provide the inputs and outputs, you provide the prompt, and you run the app. It just kicks off and triggers. There is no back and forth communication with an app. A workflow is like a multi-step app. It's like apps that are linked together, providing complex processes in a single sequence. For example, you might build a workflow that first researches a topic and then writes a blog post and then makes a social media post about that. Each step builds on the step before it. And then agents are more communicational and conversational. They're like assistants with memory and personality. Unlike apps and workflows, agents don't just run once and finish, they have ongoing conversations with you. They remember their instructions, they can access source materials or informational files you've attached, they can use tools and integration. They're perfect for using as an assistant or a helper to help you do the tasks that you do just quicker and faster. And for the purposes of this training, we are going to be building an agent because they're the most versatile and easiest to interact with on a daily basis. So to create an agent, you're going to click the New button and then click Agent. On the screen that pops up, you can name your agent. I'm going to create myself an email assistant as an example. So I'm just going to name it Email Assistant. You can give your agents an email address so you can email them instead of having to come to the HATS platform to interact with them. But that's an add-on additional task. You don't have to do that. You can describe the agent. Now, these aren't the instructions. This is for the person using the agent. So I'll add a detailed description of email assistant. I will expand that out later on. You'll select a category. This is where the items are categorized in the Discover portal. Um, you can categorize it by anything that you'd like. If you're not sharing it, you don't necessarily need to categorize it if it's just for your personal use. Your greeting message is how the agent will initially greet you. Hello, please give me an email to send. And then the instructions. This is actually where the agent has its set of instructions of what it does, what it can't do, what its ideal outcome is. So you are an email assistant. You take in a draft email and output a professional email. You save it to the contact I tell you to in my Outlook draft. Now, you'll see my instructions are not great. They don't have correct grammar, some don't have correct spelling, and it's not well developed. When we first started building agents, you had to build the instructions yourself. You had to craft them to be extremely well formatted so that there were no doubts. The new agent builder has these helpful get started instructions in the middle here that will kickstart you into using this agent. So I gave it kind of a little bit of information about what I want, and I'm just going to say, help me write instructions. And it's going to take in my text and it's going to heavily expand it into a good set of instructions that the agent could use to still follow what I want it to do, but just more consistent and on a higher quality. And then all the way at the bottom, they have the apply to instructions button, and I'm just going to click it there. Scrolling on down, I do want to make sure that the agent has my contact source file. So I went and I downloaded a contacts CSV file. I'm just going to click and drag it here and upload it. Agents can refer back to their source files, so any files that are attached to it. So in this way, by attaching a contact sheet, I can tell it, reach out to Sarah at Acme, and it will pull up her email and know it. And then tools. You can enable auto tool or you can set the tools manually that you're going to utilize. And I'm going to create this agent. I have to select a model. I'm going to select auto model to allow it to always use the best model for the job. If it needs to use a complex model to make a complex email, it will. If it needs to use an easier model or a lower tier model for an easier task, it will. And then I'm going to enable the tools that I want. Now, it does just say email, so I'm going to go in and manually enable the Office 365 tool. And I'm also going to say update instructions to indicate we always use Office 365 Outlook for emails. I've saved it here. I've turned on personalization so it'll learn from me here. And it is updating its instructions here. Perfect. I liked what I saw. I will apply those instructions. And then now I'm going to create the agent and test it out. All right, so I have my email assistant agent. It has my contact sheet saved. So I'm just going to say, send a thank you email to Acme Corp for their attendance today. I don't have to be the best speller. I don't have to be the most eloquent person to use an email assistant. I'm still crafting the message. I'm still creating the content. The AI is just going to help me phrase it better, put it in the right order, improve the grammar and spelling, things of that nature. And then it will actually save it in my Outlook draft folder.